Hello, hello. Good to see you. All right. If you're watching on the replay, we are about 9 minutes early, so you can feel free to fast forward. And Sarah's in the house. Welcome, welcome. All right. I'm going to get our document up and ready to share and make sure all the screens are the way we want them. Cool. Welcome, welcome, everybody. I'm going to just pop into the chat the link to the Google Doc just in case you need easy access. Remember that you'll need to make a copy. And once I start teaching, if people need the link, please feel free to copy and paste it for them. I would appreciate that very much. See little baby Bella snuggling in her bed down there. Oh, the dogs are the best when they are sleeping. Cutest when they're sleeping too. You'll see me looking up sometimes. I'm trying a new situation with my screen. So I have one above and your beautiful face is here in front of me. Can't believe we're on week 2 already. It doesn't seem possible. It's gonna go so fast. Y'all figured out how to make a copy and have your own copy that you can type in or print and write. Everybody good on that? Good. Hi, welcome, welcome. I still have a little bit of a cough and all of that nonsense. So I just took some medicine right beforehand. So I'm hoping it's gonna kick in. No coughing, no throat clearing. Just saying it, that makes me have to cough. So hold on. How many of you use Mac products, like Mac computer, not Mac makeup? Okay. All right. So I have a terrible confession. I have no need for any other electronic anything. I've got all the electronics I could possibly need, but I became a little bit obsessed with the idea of getting an iPad mini where I could do my morning journaling and, like I have all of these ideas. I resisted and I resisted for like 2 months. And then I got the iPad mini and it's so nice. It's so not necessary. And I absolutely love it. I have my planner in here in a program called Notability, where you can, you write in cursive, you can draw. I've drawn stickers, you can put your own sticker. Oh, it's so freaking fun. It's very fun. It's totally unnecessary and very fun. All right. If you need to spend a shit ton of money on something you don't need, the iPad minis are very fun. And I got this little keyboard that has the ability to hook to 3 different Bluetooth devices. So I can pop my little iPad mini in there and typey. I can pop my phone in there, typey. I can pop my normal iPad in there, typey. I can go to the beach, typey. Electronics get me motivated to work, like buying new gym clothes gets me motivated to go to the gym. Like a new pair of leggings might get me to go 2 or 3 times and then kind of wears off. Then I need new leggings. All right, we got about 4 minutes to go. I'm going to just drop the link again one more time in case you don't have it. And for those of you that chose the VIP experience, if we've not already connected one-on-one on Voxer, let's make sure to do that. And you'll also notice that I'm adding you to a Voxer group. And that group is going to be broadcast only, meaning I'm the only one that can talk. And I'll only occasionally send messages on there. Like if I'm coaching somebody individually on something that I know is going to make sense for everybody to hear, I'll go and leave that in the broadcast Voxer so that everybody can hear it. And I also like it because sometimes you just forget that how long it's been between the times that you've connected with me on Voxer. So often on a Monday, I will get in there and broadcast a message and just say, like, I hope it's a good start to your week. Don't forget to connect, da, 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 da. I have the exact same package with my coach. So she does one asset review for me a month, and she checks Voxer Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And it's been so freaking helpful for me. That's why I brought it to the intensive, because it's just been really, really helpful. She's wicked smart too. All right. It's so hard to wait until the actual start time. Hi, Nilda, welcome. Hi, good to see you.
Quick question before we start. Are all the workbooks available now? Like if I wanted to print them all out?
Yes, ma'am. Yep. They're in probably the easiest two places to get all of them are either in Kartra, but then you have to go to like each week individually. If you go into the Facebook group, I have pinned a post at the top that has all of the documents linked in one doc. So you can just click, 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 and get them all.
Okay.
I was just reviewing our doc this morning. I was like, all right, let me make sure I'm getting in the zone. I'm reviewing it. And it's hilarious when you come across things that you've done. You're like, that was pretty damn smart. Like that was kind of good. I like that section. I had to box my team and be like, yeah, some of this is actually pretty good. You ever feel that way in therapy sometimes? Like, who just said that? That was a really good interpretation. We're going to be talking about that today. I'm sure you guys have had this experience. I remember it so vividly from practicum. I got to work with this one client, and it was an intensive psychodynamic clinic. So I got to work with this person for a long time. And I think ultimately ended up being like 2.5 years or something, which as a prac student is like very, very cool. And I had been trying to get him to hear this particular message over and over again. I was like dropping it in as frequently as possible. And it was very psychodynamic. So, like I couldn't make a bold, listen, buddy, this is what you need to do. I had to gently make this light interpretation that maybe one day he would get. And one day he got it, and he did not give me credit for it. He was like, I was thinking over the weekend, and I had this epiphany, and I'm like, in my head, of course, like I said that like 17 times. Yeah. My instructor said what you all already know, which is it's much more powerful when they think that it came from them. But in the moment, I was like, damn it, man. I have said that so many times. Welcome, everybody. It's good to have you here. We're going to get started right on time. I'm going to drop the link for our workbook just in the chat here. If somebody comes later, they won't be able to see any of the chat that happened before they got here. So please feel free to reshare that link to help folks if they haven't already opened it up. And all of the links for all of our workbooks are already created. So if you're wanting to get ahead of schedule, know that if you go into the Facebook group, there's a pinned post and it says Google Docs. And every one of our workbooks are already loaded in there. So you can get ahead of us if you would like to. All right. So we're going to start with a win. please pop into the chat a win that you can claim. So this can be a needle mover, some action that you've taken in your business. We're more about action than we are about reporting results. But if you happen to have good results, we want to hear that too. But I want to hear what you actually have control over and claim it as a win. It can be you've done something to get ahead in the business and or anything that represents balance in life outside of work. Because remember, that's our end goal here, right? We're trying to get clients in at a higher rate so that we can have more time and do fun things with that time. So your win can either be in the fun things category or in the business building category. Drop it in the chat. And so long as my memory works, we will do this at the beginning of every session so that you are actually reflecting on your wins and your actions. All right, I gotta put on my glasses so I can read what you're saying. Got my friend with an iPhone and talent for aesthetics to take pics of me for better headshot. Awesome, awesome. Headshots matter. They matter a lot. As you guys are popping it in there, I'll tell you a funny story. My very best friend got headshots done, and she does not see herself as the beautiful woman that she is. So she's showing me these headshots, and they were amazing. But some of them looked a little bit more like they should be on a dating app or that they should be a gift for her wife than they look like they should be on her Psychology Today profile. So I was like, you look at little sexy pants in this one. Like the eye contact feels a little bit intense. Maybe save that one for your wifey. So if you need honest feedback, you know how sometimes you can put your pictures in groups and everybody's like, oh, in here, we're going to give very honest feedback because we know that this is the first impression that people will have of you. And we want it to be a really good impression. So if you've got pepper in your teeth in that photo, I promise that I will tell you. I'm not going to just tell you that it's amazing. And we are not trying to look like freaking supermodels in these pictures. We basically want to be making a face that we would feel comfortable with them seeing as we welcome them into our door. Okay. So, my friend's sexy face was not the face that a client wants to see when they're not the right kind of client in the door. Or, sometimes somebody looks so happy that it's a little bit off-putting for their ideal client, or sometimes they look so serious or whatever. We're going to give honest feedback today, or in this group rather. All right, back to wins. I love it. Oh, I love seeing these wins. Kind of small thing. No, we do not minimize. I attended a networking luncheon last week, which I've been avoiding. That's a really big thing. That is not, for me, a fun thing to do. So I would be claiming that as big. I was about to lower my rate, but I decided to hold out for now. Good for you. Awesome. Blocked off Friday, so I have time to work on other things. Mel, that's just going to be a life-changing. That is so helpful. Danielle created an ideal schedule in Google Calendar. Nice. And started nudging clients into those ideal slots. Love it. Love it. You can make like a shadow calendar in your calendar. And then you can see like, why the heck am I scheduling this person here when really what I want is here? Awesome. Researching getting licensed in California so that I can have my latest clients earlier. Super smart. Super smart. Awesome, guys. Keep those wins coming in. Launched a page for intensive therapy on my website. Intensives are banging right now. If you're the sort of therapist that would enjoy doing a 3-hour kind of intensive, EMDR or otherwise, people are digging it right now. Awesome. Nilda says, I was asked to reschedule a session for 1 p.m. today, and I didn't, so I can show up for this session. Love it. You guys are really talking about protecting your time and energy. Those are the things that we need to move that needle forward. You can keep dropping in wins. I'm going to jump straight now into teaching because this is a very important day. We are talking about your flow client today. This is no different than your ideal client, but I intentionally put a different word around it because I want you to think differently about it than you might have in the past. So you can have an ideal client that is based on a diagnosis. Maybe you say like, my very favorite people are people with OCPD and super, super rigidity. Like they're my peeps. Okay, we can market to that person. You might say, what I really love to do is behavioral therapy for pelvic floor disorders related to anxiety. Okay, we can base it around the type of treatment you can provide. But 9 times out of 10, what I find is that people are drawn to a particular personality type, and those are their flow clients. So it can be diagnosis, it can be a treatment style. Generally, it's going to be a personality type. So we're going to be talking in depth about who your flow client is today to help you find that person. I'm going to drop the Google Doc in one more time. And I'm going to share my screen. All right. Here we are in our document today. Finding your flow clients will keep your practice full. So when you are doing your most amazing work because you're with your flow clients, remember 1 in 10 people are sharers. So if you have 20 clients that you've been doing amazing work with because they are your ideal clients, then at least 2 of them are going to be singing your praises to everybody who will listen. And that's going to drive more of your flow clients in. This is a great quote. The happiest people spend much of their time in a state of flow, the state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience itself is so enjoyable that people will do it even at great cost for the sheer sake of doing it. The sheer sake of doing it. When I first started doing therapy, it was the one place that I felt like I could let go of my anticipatory anxiety, because I sort of felt like, well, this 50 minutes, there's nothing I can do about the worry about the conversation that I had earlier. And if I upset my supervisor or, like whatever my anxieties happen to be, there's nothing I can do about it during these 50 minutes that I'm with this person. So I'm just going to be completely present with this person. And it was one of the first times I ever entered flow states. Therapeutic flow is when you and your client are truly in the same moment together. You know deeply and intuitively what they're feeling and thinking. You feel at peace with whatever may come up. And you have a deep trust in yourself in that moment with you and your client. You're in the zone. So I dropped a little bit of research in here for you just to get you more excited about figuring out who your in the zone client is. And I know that many of us have come from agency work where we haven't gotten to pick our clients. We've just worked with whoever landed. Don't worry, we're going to go through some exercises so that even if you haven't been in flow yet, you're going to be able to start imagining who that person is that you will feel flow with. And it can change over time. People in a state of flow have higher levels of dopamine, and we know that that supports motivation, pleasure, reward, right? Like sometimes when you're in a state of flow, you'll even forget to eat, which is a real big deal for me because I am always thinking about food. During flow, a person will have high levels of engagement with a challenging task that matches their skill level or is just the tiniest little bit higher. So I want you to think of a time when you were in flow, and let's put in the chat your own words to describe what that was like. And it may not have been in therapy. It may have been crafting. It may have been playing basketball. I don't care. But describe in your own words in the chat what that state of flow felt like for you. Ooh, I like timeless. That's a great way. It does feel like time sort of disappears. Almost effortless. I could pull from my reservoir and there was a lot of joy. Yes. It felt like I was able to connect and share my interpretations freely, and that they landed with the client like super aha moments. Yes. I was able to understand that person's struggle. I could feel it, and they knew I could feel it. Yes. Gosh, you guys, good. So engrossed that I lost track of time and my mind wasn't wandering anywhere else. But yes, 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 and yes. It feels expansive. At first I read that as expensive and I was like, well, it can be. Maggie says, in therapy, when I was able to respond out of my intuition without overthinking what my response was going to be or how I was going to respond. Yes. Hiking, I feel intuition, happiness, inspiration. In therapy, it's been when the client and I were on the same wavelength, connecting at a much deeper level and with understanding and validation. I felt recharged, like I could keep going and going and going. Yes, yes, lots of head nods. Felt like second nature, familiar, powerful. Dang, I want to copy and paste all this chat. Doing yoga and feeling completely in my body and in the room and feeling in step with everyone around me. I felt connected with my client and very much in the moment. I was not overthinking, that's a theme. And it felt like the client and I understood each other intuitively. Again, great theme word. Oh, very interested in what other person was saying. And I was really enjoying talking with them. The hour flew by, time disappears. Present with body, challenged, time goes so fast. Often in spin class, gosh, I wish that was true for me. Oh, can I have some of that? Fully present, engaged, excited, and what was happening, able to understand the struggle, and they felt it. Another theme, know intuitively where to go next with little to no effort. So guys, heads up that you can copy this chat by the end of the session. So if you go to those three little dots in the chat on the far right-hand side towards the bottom, there's an option to, where is it? There should be an option to save the chat. Hold on, I might be lying about how to do it. At any rate, there's an option to save the chat. We save the chat after every session, but if you're seeing something that's like real good and you want it in your worksheet, copy and paste it and put it in your worksheet. This is the sensation that we want to pay attention to. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Heather. Awesome. Okay, so let's go back here. Keep these words handy, copy, paste, have them in your document. So why is it important that we're even talking about this? It's because when your skills and your client's needs are perfectly aligned, you feel challenged, but just to the edge of your skill set. So it creates this endorphin rush, right? Which I can imagine creates some really cool oxytocin between you and your client as well. It increases your work joy, and research shows us that it decreases your risk of burnout. You end up providing the highest level of care that you're capable of without any cost to yourself. That feels super important, right? Because there's some therapy that I can do that used to be flow for me, and now I can still do it, but it's much heavier of a lift. It's no longer flow. It's not just easeful. It's now like a skill set, and I'd prefer to work with a different type of person. So sometimes our flow client will change over time, and that's cool because you're going to learn how to write copy to your flow client. And if your flow client changes, you still will know how to write copy to your flow client. So you'll already have the skill set you need. Think a little bit about why flow is important to you. So I've talked to you about why it's important in general. Can you pop into the chat or in your workbook if there's a particular reason that it feels important to you? For me, it definitely helps manage my anxiety. So I don't feel as in my head in sessions when I'm in flow. Avoiding burnout. Yeah, why flow, being in flow with clients feels important to you. Helps manage my energy levels. Yeah. feel energized after a work day rather than drained. Yeah, I always feel like doing research. Like when I'm in flow with a client and I'm like super in it afterwards, I'm like, let me just do some research on this topic. This is so interesting. Feel like I'm bringing my whole self to work. Helps to not feel drained. Yes, because clients can tell when I'm faking it. Yes. It doesn't feel like work. Yeah. So how freaking cool would it be if we go through this process of the intensive to learn how to market? We're going to market to your flow client. And while you're at work, you feel like you're at play because you're getting to do the thing that you're great at with the people with whom you are great at it with. Anyway, you know what I'm saying, right? And you've created all this extra space outside of work for more joy. So you're getting both, right? And the marketing benefits of seeing clients with whom you are in flow are astronomical. I'm going to teach you all sorts of strategies and techniques for marketing, but here's the real kicker. If you are able to get enough clients in the door for 2 to 3 years, depending on how long term you do your work, right? You're not going to have to keep marketing because your flow clients are going to be singing your praises, and their physicians who they've talked to about you are going to be singing your praises. And then you're not going to be doing any more marketing because your therapy is your marketing. That's why we don't want to see any rando person, because there are people you're not going to be great at working with, and they're not going to sing your praises. In fact, they might say negative things about you. So it's anti-marketing. The more selective we are with doing great work, the more our marketing is naturally going to happen for us outside of the session. All right, let's talk about the yeah buts related to niching down and finding your flow client and marketing only to that person. Because almost always when we talk about niche or ideal client, people get a little bit nervous. And some of these will resonate with you. So let me know in the chat which ones pop up for you. If I really niche down, I will narrow my pool so much that I'll get bored in session. I don't want to see the same person over and over again. Or I'll narrow my pool so much that I can't get enough clients. Or I'll turn off a potentially perfect client by being too specific. I don't know how to get specific enough. I don't know if I'll be truly competent enough. So let me know if any of those resonate with you. Normally it's because I don't know how to get specific enough. I don't know if I'll be truly competent enough. Yeah, keep them coming. So let's talk about each one. This idea that I'll narrow my pool down so much that I'm going to get bored. Here's the deal. When we're working in our zone of genius, we don't tend to get bored. In fact, it shows through lots of research that your dopamine levels are much, much higher. So we end up getting more, not less, work satisfaction. In addition to that, what we're going to be working on is identifying a flow client via personality traits. And so it may not be the same therapeutic issue over and over, just the same sort of person, the same sort of human being, right? So there will still be lots of diversity in your caseload. But let's just say that you do get bored over time, or maybe, it just starts to become heavier than it used to be. That's okay, because we're just going to adjust your copy to match your new flow client. I even have some folks who are so worried that they're going to get bored that I was finally like, listen, let's write copy to 3 flow clients, and every 3 months we'll rotate out your Psychology Today profile to one of those new pieces of copy. Okay? Okay. Awesome. So this fear about I'll narrow my pool so much that I can't get clients. I see this one a whole lot. So let's talk in depth about this. This is really, really important. Let's think about how people choose their therapist. So most people go to their insurance card or the website and look at, all right, who are the therapists that are covered by my insurance? Whatever names come up first, they probably will do a little bit of Google stalking to look them up in a directory or on their website. And basically, whoever shows up on the first page that doesn't look like a Looney Tune is who they pick. Okay. It's very hard for you to get found when there are hundreds of therapists who look and sound the same. So for example, I specialize in women with anxiety in Texas. There's nothing motivating or inspiring about that. The folks that will sign on for this are typically the people that want to use their insurance and or they're naive shoppers, meaning they think all therapists are basically the same. They'll pick a person who's convenient. That means they come up first, inexpensive, they take insurance, and looks good enough, right? They're just like, basically, is this person going to be, bad for me? No? Okay, I'll sign up. There's nothing that stands out to make them want to pay out of pocket. That's not even how they're approaching this. Private pay clients, totally different beast. They shop more discriminately. They're going to look across more places to get to know potential therapists. They're going to choose between a few of their top choices. They're therapeutically savvy. They understand like therapists work very differently and I want to find a good fit for me, or shopping savvy. Like they like to do the comparisons. And they probably have had a few therapists already and been disappointed already. They shop differently. They want someone who can clearly and quickly connect directly with them. They are paying for the special connection. They pay for that level of being known, meaning we're going to write copy specifically to them because that's what makes them want to pay. You remember I talked to you about my therapist and how when I read his copy, I was like, dang, he's talking directly to me. Crap, I'm going to have to work with this person. That's how we want them to feel when they see your copy. They're wanting to know that they're making the best choice, not just a good enough choice. They want someone special if they're going to pay for special rates. And the way that we're defining special is specific here. It's not, oh, the most competent person with the most certificates and the fanciest degrees. We're talking about having a special way of communicating directly to them. And the number of therapists out there that are doing this is so very, very small that you're going to be competing against a few therapists as opposed to hundreds that are saying the same crap over and over again, right? Like if you feel like everybody thinks you have it together on the outside, but you're a mess on the inside, you want to work with me, right? That's everybody's writing that. And that's more specific than it was even a year ago. Let's talk a little bit about this fear that you're going to turn off your ideal client because you got too specific. We're going to watch out for this together. I almost never see this happen. The only time that I saw it happen was, I got you with the copy up. I got you. The only time I saw this happen was with a good friend of mine who was trying to write his copy in a way to attract people with money. And so he basically like called to mind a CEO. And he wrote the copy. It was great copy, and it definitely would have attracted CEOs. I referred to him a woman, super high achiever, and she was a stay-at-home mom plus a side gig, and she fit the personality profile, but not the CEO part of it, even though I feel like she was basically running everybody's life and her whole family, right? Codependency all over the place. So we want to make sure that we're not using a word so specific like CEO that we're ruling people out, but we want to speak to their emotional being. All right. You might be thinking, I'll reshare in just a second. You might be thinking, yeah, but if I write really, really specific copy, there are lots of different people that I work well with. And so they're not going to understand that. They're going to see that I'm talking to this one specific person. When I read really great copy, whether it's me or not in that copy, what I'm sold on is their ability to empathize and really understand another human. And when I see that in what they've written, then I think to myself, well, they'd be able to understand me. Look how well they're understanding this person. So when you're writing great copy, even if it's not to that very specific person, they're gonna know if you can help them or not. They're going to see it. And in copywriting, we talk about this technique of showing, not telling. So when we tell, we might say like, I'm a very empathic person, blah, 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 blah. That's telling. That's fine. Showing would be writing your copy in such a way that they're like, dang, this person knows my feelings. They know my thoughts. They know my patterns because they're seeing it in your writing. So that's where we're going to start to get to. Copywriting can be very, very fun. So I'm hoping that we get to a place of it feeling like fun for you. Okay. We will help you to get specific enough. I saw several of you wrote that you just didn't know if you could. We'll get you there. I don't know if I'll be truly competent enough. So I wrote here, I can't tell you how many times a therapist comes to me who needs mindset work around competence instead of just chasing another certification. Oh, I've got to get that EMDR certification. Oh, I've got to get my parts work certification before I can see these folks. Lies. These are lies. Those things might give you more technical sophistication. But what do we know about what really moves the needle in therapy? It is that other person feeling totally understood. It is holding space for someone. We know that that's the turning point in therapy. It's the relationship between the two of you. So when we find the sort of person that you have a very easeful, natural, intuitive relationship with, that means you're competent at working with them. You're going to see it in your work. You're going to see that they feel seen, known, understood. You're going to see that they're making therapeutic gains, and you're going to see that they're staying through the entire course of treatment. And if those things aren't true, then we're going to get you some supervision and fix that up, right? So if you can write to your ideal client, then you are competent to treat that person because it means you truly get them if you're writing good copy. Now, obviously, if you're doing something really very, very niche, like sex therapy, blah, 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 then you're going to need some extra training, right? And same with hypnosis. All right, let us get into a little bit of work together. Let's look at identifying your flow clients and flow moments. So you don't have to think of a particular person if you're not in flow with them regularly, but do think of at least a moment when you were in flow. And this is both your homework and we're getting started on it now. So go ahead and type either in the chat or in your worksheet, people that you've enjoyed working with or moments where you have felt in flow. List them and please de-identify them just in case your document gets somewhere. Moments or people with whom you have felt flow. Moments or people with whom you have felt flow. Don't panic if nothing's coming to you. We've got lots of angles we're going to come at this from. Oh, the client earlier today. Amazing. Amazing. Got to turn off. People going through breakups. Yes. When clients say, I know what you're going to say, Amanda. Yes. You know, you've been, what's the word, guys? It's a psychodynamic word, not introject, internalized. There we go. Yeah. Think of a moment or a person with whom or when you have felt in flow. Now, if you're having a hard time pulling some of this up, let me give you some prompts. Yes, when they started reflecting and bringing patterns to session. Yes. So these prompts might help you to pull up some of those moments. So you can think of a time that you felt like that aha moment together. And I want you to write down everything you can think of around that. Just jot it down, quick. Moment when you've laughed together. I have shared with some of you that I had a client and she had super dark humor and very traumatic history. And so she would make dark humor jokes and I never laughed because I was worried about reinforcing the trauma and like colluding with her around minimizing it. And then one day we were just so in the zone and she made one of her super dark jokes and I just busted out laughing. And it was a breakthrough in the therapy because it almost felt to her like Now I know you can handle it. Now I know you're not going to be so deeply impacted by what I share that, I have to protect you in our work together. Someone that I'm able to discuss different aspects of life, like spiritual, philosophy, and emotional. Yes. I have a few clients that have told me I have your voice in my head when they're in situations they've been working on. Yes, yes. Write this stuff down, guys. Write it down. Moments when you've cried together with a client. Pop that down. Or you feel like you've read each other's minds. Or there's another thing that you felt together that I didn't list here. Yes, when you say a word and that's the precise word they had in mind too. Yes, yes. Okay, when clients say, I thought about you and I remember XYZ from our session, and as a result, they've implemented specific strategies we are working on. Awesome. All right. Now, so some of you, this is coming pretty easily too, but for some of you, it might not be. So I want to take a look at your faces and let me know in the chat if you're having any like struggles, because I'm going to walk you through some exercises to help you with that. Yeah. Okay. So great. Thank you for sharing that, Angelia. Yep. I know that this happens with me and my clients, but I'm frozen right now. My brain keeps saying, no, that doesn't count. Yeah. Yes. So when that happens to me, this is going to sound so weird, but I believe that memories are stored on emotion chains. So if I'm trying to pull out the card catalog of times that I felt in a flow state, I almost need to be in that flow state to be able to unlock that drawer of memories where I've been in that flow state. If I'm in a course like this one, where I'm like, man, I hope I'm gonna be able to make enough money to pay back this course money, right? I might be in an anxious state. And so I can't even pull open that file drawer. I'm only able to get to anxiety file drawers. So if that's happening for you, no big deal. Print out these prompts, keep them handy so that when you're in therapy and you're in your natural state, you can be like, oh yeah, let me jot down some stuff. Right? You just might not be in the emotional place while we're meeting. All right. I have answers, Maggie says, but I'm not sure if I categorize them in a way to make sense marketing. Oh, don't even worry about that. We are brainstorming. We're dumping. So you can have out a piece of paper and just be writing all over. It does not have to be organized at all. So little specks of memories are particularly helpful. So sometimes it's easier to get to the general, like my client, says that they remember me outside of session and something that I would say, heck yeah, write that down. But if you can get even more detailed, like what they remember that you say, what's the thing that they're like, yeah, this would totally be an Amber thing. This would totally be a Maggie thing. So what are those things? I remember my trauma clients would always say, you say this thing about preheating the oven. You always talk about preheating the oven. So I was out with my friends and realized that it was going to be really triggering ahead of time. And so I preheated the oven. I packed in my coping skills ahead of time. I took my Ativan before I went, So what are some of those things that really stand out? And I use these trigger words. I wrote a list of favorite client sessions. There are lots of differences, yet none of them have clinical depression. You're ahead of us now. Yes. So if there are things that you're like, I do not feel in flow with this type of client or this type of problem, we're writing those down too. Because sometimes it's a lot easier to rule people out than to figure out who are your ideal clients off the cuff. So feel free, if that's already coming to you, you're ahead of us, start jotting that stuff down. So I'm going to give you a few prompts and you'll work on these on Thursday as well. So don't feel like you need to come up with all the things right this minute. But when I think about moments when I've been in flow, it's kind of like what you're saying about depression. If there's dysthymia, I don't feel flow. I can't get it. Same with restricting style eating disorders. I can't, my brain can't get it. So go ahead and write those things down too. So you could put feelings, yes, no, tab over, and feelings, no. And so like when my clients are, here's how I would do this, super dysregulated or lots of feelings, but smushed down. Okay, those are my peeps. I like them. No would be dysthymia, always down, external. Well, that would be under thoughts, but you get the idea. External locus of control, not my jammy jam. Right. So you can put under feelings, what do you feel in vibe with? The what ifs people totally get you, always questioning. People who feel not good enough. And then I might give a specific example if it's available to me, like everyone thinks I'm so nice, but if I don't keep doing all of the things for them, they are going to be a shitty human, right? So the more specific, the better. And you can do that for each one of these. So some of these might not really resonate for you. Maybe physical sensations is not something that you really think about in therapy. Physical sensations is something I'm thinking about a lot because I work with a lot of trauma clients. So, you know, they might feel tightness in their chest or tightness in their shoulders, or they might develop a tension headache, or they might feel fuzzy and numb and unable to access their thoughts or feelings. So use this to type through what you notice. Check us one time, we're doing good. And you can add your own prompts as well, of course. One that I really love, and it shows up in my copy a lot, are these. Probably elicits this response from most other people. So I see a lot of goody two-shoes, and they're often really liked by their bosses and are kind of like envied a little bit by their coworkers, or kind of annoyed. Their coworkers are kind of annoyed with them for being so good, but everybody recognizes that they're so good at their job. Those people often show up in my practice, or maybe they're misunderstood in these particular ways. So some of my clients are experienced by others as having a really bad temper, but their temper really comes from hurt, like, you know, insecurity and hurt. They're not naturally mean-spirited people. So what about your folks? And I like this prompt too. Appreciates it when I show X part of me. You guys seem to appreciate it. Not all of you, I'm sure, but a lot of you seem to appreciate my not perfectness. And so those are people that I like to attract. Nilda says, I get goody two-shoes that have hidden rudeness and anger they don't share. Ooh, I love it. Make sure you copy that. That's going to make for some good copy later on. We'll massage it a little bit. Everybody thinks that you're so sweet, but maybe in your head, you're thinking things like X, Y, Z. And if you can think of, Nilda, that those thoughts that they might have, those rude or angry thoughts, write those down too. Prompts here include things like, what are some of the critical moments or significant memories from his or her life story? I know you won't have time to fill this out now. You do have time on Thursday, so we'll work on it together, but this is a really good one if you do like depth work. And then also symptoms. What are some symptoms that you know you're good at helping them with? So with anxiety, diaphragmatic breathing, and regulating their breathing, regulating their speech, so they're not gulping for air. Those are things that we do in session. And then there are some of you who will find this incredibly difficult, Maybe just because of the work history that you've had, you haven't had a whole lot of time to spend with your ideal clients, so it's hard to know who the heck they are. In that case, two things. One, often our ideal client is us 3, 5, 7 years ago. So you can kind of jot down things based on that, if that might be true for you. And then the other is to identify your non-ideal clients. So de-identify them, but you might already have people come into mind as soon as I say non-ideal. Like, I don't want to work with this kind of person ever, ever, ever again. So make up a name for them that you'll remember, drop them here, and then we have prompts that you can use to understand them more, because we want to repel our non-ideal client with our copy. And we want to be a magnet for our ideal clients. So we've got to know who they both are. Frustrates me by, gets irritated with me when, or I get irritated with them when, probably elicits this kind of response from most other people, is misunderstood in these ways, or doesn't understand themselves in these ways, inspires me in this way, doesn't appreciate it when I show X part of myself. More than anything, I wish they would, dun, 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 but they won't. That one always helps me to narrow it down. And then some of them are going to be similar prompts. Okay? So what are some of the critical moments, significant memories in their life story? And the last little piece of this, and then I'm going to open it up to a couple questions before we wrap for this lesson. Are there some things your favorite or non-ideal client, if that's easier, have in common? So when we just did that exercise where we talked about what does it feel like to be in flow, you notice that there were words that showed up over and over. Intuitive, right? That showed up repeatedly. Lose track of time showed up repeatedly. So you'll notice as you're filling out this homework in between now and Thursday or on Thursday, that themes will emerge. We want all those themes to be at the bottom of this page. This is a really, really important part because it's going to help us to know who the heck we're writing to. We will seek themes across your ideal clients. Now you might, I don't even want to give you this permission, but I'm gonna. You might think, I really have 2 ideal clients. They're 2 separate people. And if that's true, and it's not true for most of you, but if it's true, go ahead and separate out the themes that are consistent with this and the ones that are consistent with this ideal client, okay? It will get you ahead on copy to do that. All right, turn your mic on if you have questions and let me know where you might feel like you're gonna get stumped, or if you have like a block that we can work through in this next few minutes, bring it. Is everybody feeling all good? Oh, it's very exciting. Anybody a little bit worried about this exercise? A little bit. I see Maria says yes, Lori saying yes, Mel saying yes, Leah. Tell me what you're worried about. Let's talk it out. All the worried. It's a lot to process.
Amber, so I don't know if it's a worry as much as like maybe a point of clarification. So I work a lot relational work, even if it's an individual. I'm also thinking in terms of whatever, their families, their partners, their society. So I feel like I work on so many levels and it's hard to sort of narrow down who I'm talking to. I don't know if that makes sense. So because it's not like a specific diagnosis, or it's not a specific gender or demographic, so to speak. So that's where I've been really, really struggling, because relationships, like who doesn't have a relationship, but how to make that specific without, how to make that specific.
Yeah. Okay, great. So there are going to be 3 parts of our copy that we're going to work on together. One is writing the pain points of your ideal client. So that might be their hurtful thoughts, it might be hurtful behaviors, it might be hurtful relationship patterns, which might be true for you, Leah. All of the pain stuff that they come in complaining about. Then we're going to write the hope points for our ideal client. In their words, what would be the best outcomes of therapy? How would their life be different? This is like the miracle magic wand question. If all of your suffering were healed in our session today, what would your daily life look like that's different? The more specific we get, the better. So it might be something like, you wish, what if it could be like, it's a good way to get to your hope points. What if it could be exciting to wake up in the morning and go to your job rather than feeling dread? What if it could be blank rather than blank? So we're getting the hope point, the pain point, the hope point, the pain point. Now, the third place that we are going to talk is called the bridge. And I might need VIP for this part. You are welcome to add VIP. What is the bridge? And for folks who have a real strong theoretical model, like interpersonal process work, the bridge is describing how you're going to help them go from the pain point to the hope point, and it might be the number one seller of what you're doing. Now, if you are more focused on like, I'm looking for people who share this type of pain, the pain points might be the biggest sell. If you're looking for high achievers who are feeling burnout, but want to continue to aspire greatly at their job, but not lose so much of their life while doing so, that's more like a hope point, and that might be the big selling. But if I'm doing interpersonal process work, and we're still going to have pain points, hope point, bridge, but if I'm doing interpersonal process work, I might write at the top of my thing something like, have you ever noticed that you keep trying to pick out a healthier person, whether it be your work colleagues or your significant other or your best friend? You have an idea about who this person is, and you think that you've picked them. And then over time, you find out like it's the same freaking person over and over again in a different body. It's the same person who starts off by giving you so many compliments. And then as soon as you get comfortable in the relationship, it's nothing but critique after critique after critique. That's super specific. And then we can get into, and the way that we make change is to begin to uncover what some of those, I'm going to make some shit up here, traits are that are magnetizing you towards these people who really aren't the people that you want in your life. We're going to figure out what that is together. I'm making a whole lot of shit up here, y'all. And then we're going to help you to practice new ways of being in relationships in order to attract the sort of person you really deserve to have in your life. Okay. So whichever place is easier for you to access, whether it's pain points, hope points, or bridge, is the place that we'll start when we're talking copy next week. So your whole job this week is to call to mind all of those moments where you have felt in flow. Describe the shit out of those moments. Describe that person. Describe how you felt and who you are in those moments. Get it all down on paper. And the more specific you can get, the easier your copy will be to write. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of specificity just so that your brain is thinking in that way, and we can pull that catalog, that card catalog drawer out. There are moments where, okay, here's a great, let me try to get specific because it's easy to be general. You know, the yeah, but therapy clients, they say, I just need you to tell me what to do. I just need you to tell me what to do. And you're like, all right. You tell them what to do and they're like, yeah, but that's not going to work because of da-da-da-da-da, right? That is not my favorite person to work with. So I'm going to write in my copy something to that effect so that they do not come in the door. You know, like in my FAQs, I might say something like, the client might say, I've been in other therapy before and nothing's worked. And that might be the FAQ. And then underneath it, I'll be like, if it didn't work for these reasons, I'm the right person for you. But if it didn't work for these reasons, including yeah, buts, I'm not the right person for you. So the more specific you can get, the better. Yeah, I'm not a magician. Right. There have been times where, I mean, I really want you to think of details. I can remember a client that I was in a college counseling center, and he was just so completely out of touch with how he came across. And he was man spreading in that chair. He did not have underwear on, and he had very baggy shorts on, if you know what I'm saying. And I had to give feedback to this person because I did not want to be staring at that the whole session, and there was no way not to. And he took it so well. I was like, that's my kind of person right there. I was like, hey, just, you know how you were saying how sometimes people don't seem to like you, but you don't know why? I don't know. But just so you know, when you're sitting like that, they might be seeing more of you than you realize. And he took it phenomenally well. I love that. If you can hear kind of awkward, hard to hear things, I'm willing to say it, and our therapeutic work is going to go well. All right. Any other last minute questions before we wrap? And then we're going to work our butts off on Thursday, writing all, this is all the foundation for the next step, which is going to be writing all of the copy that you will ever need to have will be written and in one Google Doc. Say the magic word. Oh my. Yeah. So when that part where you say, I'm going to say I'm not a magician, we're going to show and not tell that. We're going to show it through what we write in our bridge copy. Like, this is the way that change happens. I don't wave a wand. This is what actually happens. Yeah. Love it. Okay, my friends, make sure that you take a look at that document, get yourself in the mood. So if you need to take 10, 15 minutes before we start on Thursday, light your candles, get your aromatherapy going, like whatever needs to happen, read therapy notes that you've written. Those will help you pull up stuff really quick. And let's meet on Thursday and start working towards our copy. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Oh, and if you need to download the chat, feel free to do that now. We will also have it in the course. So if you don't want to do it, that's okay. I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. All right. Bye, friends. See you on Thursday.